All right, hello. This is a take two, actually. Thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I know a Grand Prix just happened, and I wanted to cover some of those, especially with Daehoon. I love following Daehoon in this game. But this was recommended to me by a viewer, and is actually, I watched it one time, and I watched both fights once, and it was hard for me to pull out some. I had to think about it for a little bit too, because it was a little bit difficult for me to pull out some what I really saw in the game. I feel like the second time through, I'm gonna try and break down a little bit more of what I saw, and give that to you guys. Besides that, I got married last weekend, which was amazing, and so my wife and I are now getting back to the swing of things. I have about two more weeks here before I headed out to the Philippines for training for my last tournament, and then I'm gonna be trying to pump out some videos, at least stockpile some videos for you guys. So these next couple weeks, while I won't be have access to my computer and be able to record stuff, I'll have content for you guys up until probably until December. In December, I don't think there's too much going on. You guys should be spending time with your family anyway. But yeah, that's what's been going on with me. Without further ado, though, I'm gonna try and leave the film rolling a little bit more, to see if I can cut down the time of these videos. But let's start diving in, huh? So let's see here. Boom, this was going earlier. Previously known information from these players. If you guys been watching my videos, you're gonna know that Iran here has a all around complete game always. So strong front leg, dynamic. They get the back leg body, and both legs in the clinch. Usually, it's all around like stockpile from Iran. Good game. And the reason I think that Calvin had asked, well, one of my viewers had asked, why does Iran have so many good players? And it's because I heard Iran has a professional league, like USA has basketball. Iran has like Taekwondo leagues where it's city against city, and they play each other. And I've heard there's like a lot of cash prize and stuff for money. So it's very lucrative to be a good Taekwondo player. Like you're kind of hailed as a hero and a celebrity. At least that's what I've heard. That's what I've heard from other sources. But it makes sense. I mean, Iran has a great stockpile of talent, and they just keep producing people one after the other. Besides, also, so Achab here is a world-renowned fighter. He's very uncanny, especially given his size for this division. And so far, at least what I broke down initially, it's Achab doesn't seem to want to connect too much, and he's realized, you can see him doing this little cut kick in the front. He's realized that Iran doesn't really have too much of a follow-up, so he's trying to bait the first kick, and then since he doesn't have a follow-up, he's trying to get that cut kick on there, see if that can score some points for him. And I think Iran right now is not committing too deep because Achab is a very unorthodox player, which means that as you're attacking, there's going to be some stuff coming out of him, and that I saw actually that I was like, dude, who does that? Like, where did that even come from? So they're both not going too deep into the game, like too committed to attacks. They're both more poking and prodding against each other. And small things to note here that are very good. Achab going left and right after the attack, not letting the taller guy lock on him, changing distance constantly, and making the tall guy unsure of what's going to happen. Nice back kick. Unsure of what's going to happen if he pokes at Achab, making the Iran guess, which is, in my opinion, why Iran doesn't commit that much. So a lot of this is front leg racing. Content first round. Now, what do you do with this kind of information? Now, you've been poking around, not too much has come out. Achab's given the information that after the front leg, I can follow up to the body. Iran hasn't given up too much. He hasn't committed. Besides the staple that we already know, Iran has a good front leg. Achab tried to trap it, and so essentially you could see some traps against the front leg, I think, from Achab's side. And if I were Iran, I go back to ring management a lot because I feel like it really just puts you in a better position. If I were Iran, I'd poke and prod at Achab and not commit. I'd do exactly what he's doing, get him on the edge, and then force Achab to fight on the edge of the ring where he's in danger of coming out. And then at that same time, because he's under pressure, he can't move back, he has to reveal a little bit more of what he's doing. That's what I'd be doing if I was Iran. If I were Achab, same deal. Maybe try and look for something where you could follow up. You just have to be careful, though, because Iran all these guys coming out of Iran are super talented. So you're not really right now. There's not too much information on both players. They haven't given up too much info. No. Ooh, nice. Boom. Boom. Not bad. It looks like the adjustment is so far. Ren's starting to crowd him, which is what I was saying, which is good. Who does that's really good on Achab's part. It's too unfortunate that Ren scored it, but good surprise variable by Achab there. I think Iran's gone down to after you cut, reset, and then go long to the head because they're betting that Achab doesn't have enough speed to get out of the way after one of those. I feel like that's what Iran's looking for here. Boom. I don't think he's setting it up to the same. Nice punch. So what I think here is happening too is Achab now is it's hard for usually if a player is sitting here like Achab where they're going deep dive in. Usually that forces the back, or you can deep dive and then flick to the face is also a good follow-up. Achab's strength here, though, is he's able to cancel and disrupt the forward momentum of Iran, which is why Iran can't follow up, or at least why he hasn't been following up. I don't know if he's just not committed or if he's just not seeing it, but I would assume that's what's coming right after you deep like a high cut into the low targeting. After that, then it's easy to flick to the face, especially against someone smaller than you. I think the only reason he's not doing that is because Achab is able to reach underneath, or he's trying to use that initial cut to block whatever Achab's counter is. Nice try. It's interesting because it's unlike this match is unlike like Handipur and Jang Jun where it's kind of the same strategy hitting each other. They're both in this one nice punch. Too bad it wasn't given. In this one they're both not showing. They're both very intent on not showing their hand, and so every now and then they'll play a surprise card. But it's very hard to kind of build stuff off of this. Build like an overall deep strategy off of this. A lot of this is guessing and checking. Oh, holy cow. Ren follow up there is because he wasn't sure if it scored. Nice try for the punch. And nice try by Achab. Out of bounds. That's just ring management. Looks like it's getting feisty here. So the only thing that has, I'm gonna try and let this run. Maybe this is really unfortunate by Achab. This is a great counter here. He just missed the first two. I mean 1, 2, and then that one body shot. Unfortunately, that was really cool by Achab to set up that counter there. This punch was good though. He got that like the Iranian style punch. He got that on, and so here I was also like, I'm not sure what to bring forward because I guess this is a good example of hiding your cards in a way, and then if they do something unexpected, you have a card for that. But besides that, the gameplay seems a lot like they both are not sure what each other are sitting on, so the game in a sense is very safe. No one's too committed to attacks. It's a lot of front leg poking and trying to build off of that. Achab in this situation though has scored via punch, so I could assume that the other fancy stuff he does, like the triple and the double back kick, who I've never seen anyone do before, he may not resort to that again. I imagine he'd probably go back to the punch. For Ahmadi, I'd imagine Ahmadi would look for the points again at the edge of the ring because it seems like Achab falls out a lot, and same as always, when they're on the edge, you can look for headshots. I don't really see it going to any other way right now. Achab on the offense. There's Achab trying to follow up after that first cut again. That small little bit of information. What I'm curious though is why Achab, yeah, well, the decent punch. Why after the cut, initial cut, and he knows Iran like Achab cuts, Iran cuts, and then he tries to get the second cut. I'm not sure why he doesn't. He could try and double that instead of going Achab, Iran, Achab on the cut. He go Achab, Iran, Achab on the double and hit him with the back leg on the double. Maybe he's scared of the headshot coming up. Maybe he doesn't have the. Well, he does have the double. Maybe he just hasn't practiced it like that. No, not really sure. This may be a semifinal or final too, so maybe that's also why they're not risking too much going on, like too much going on right now. But yeah, as you can see, like both the attacks are always very safe. Nice try right there. So I guess if we looked at why Achab would throw that, it's because the last 2 or 3 cuts, the guy Iran stood there, if I believe correctly. He stood there. Achab thought he'd be there, threw the headshot. Nice try. Achab's trying to follow up after that first hit. Nice try by Iran. I mean, as Iran too, you could wait for Achab's follow up, and then go to the head as he's trying to follow up to your body. That's also another option. Got the jam. Nice punch. Nothing for the punch. Keep him in the corner. No, he beat him to the under. He beat him underneath on the jogging position. He got the point on the. He got the punch on the board though. Good punch by Iran. Iran knows he's Achab's running out of time, so he's playing a little defensively, throwing in the offense every now and then. Nothing too crazy. Achab's trying to find his way in right now, and playing it very cool. That's good. Oh, so close. That was a pretty good setup. So, number 1, he played it cool. Number 2, he hasn't thrown his weapon before. So, he cut to make sure the guy would stay there. And as soon as the guy was bouncing forward for a reset, he can't go back anymore. So, those of you guys who are trying to set this, I guess, if I'm going to stop and break this down for a little bit, those of you guys who are trying to set this up, the reason he goes for this move, and I think it was a well-taken risk, a well-calculated risk, is because first cut, he doesn't move. And on the reset, so usually what happens, Achab cuts, or the guy will cut, whatever, and then he's in place. Or Achab cuts, the guy moves back, comes back, and then comes back in. What Achab did is he pushed the guy back, which is awesome. And as the guy's coming in, Achab came in as the guy's coming in. So the guy can't come in and move back at the same time. So the most he can do is lift his leg. Like, that's the ideal situation. Achab acknowledged that, came in with a cancel, and then went for the head. It was just bad luck that Iran's head here was well covered by his hand. And the second leg was coming up too. He was fully committed to that. Oh, that is a shame. Achab's a little bit, I think, out of cards now. Trying to go for the sandwich kick. Grabbing. I mean, what else are you going to do? Everything else is on the line here. I think that's it. Nice try. Well, nice try going for the spin. That's close. That was close. Very, very, very close. Man, Calvin, I don't know what to tell you, man. All I know from this fight is they played it very safe. Iran stayed fundamental game. Only a couple of pokes because Achab is an unorthodox player. I'd say he's a little bit of a hybrid. He's not fully methodical. He's a little bit unorthodox, and so as Iran, you play it point by point, and that's just about it. You just get point by point, and you don't do anything too crazy because Achab likes those situations where it's high risk. It looks like he's playing for those high risk, high reward situations where he's on the edge. He knows you're gonna come in, so he'll throw a double back kick. Or he's on the edge, so he'll throw a triple, potential 4 points, or the double back kick, potential 8 points. And those didn't connect for him, unfortunately. Achab did have a good play as far as I could tell with that attempted head kick. And it's kind of the same as before, like as all my other videos. Achab's good at collecting information and then kind of kicking based on where the information he gathered. Like the one where he tried for the face, he cut. I believe Iran stayed in place, or at least stayed really close to being in place. He did a second time. Iran also didn't move, so he went straight for the face, which is good in a sense because the guy was standing there. That's his initial defense, but it was also not as good because it's not the same look as a two. And so if I give you one look with my front leg, I give you a second look with my front leg. If I do something else, your reaction was probably going to be different. If you did front leg, and then front leg something face, where you can delay the reaction by a little bit by giving the same look, then that's a little bit more, that's a little bit better of a situation where so you're building on the pattern you've been building versus changing the pattern and hoping it connects. The second one was really good though. The cut, force him to move back, and then as these are coming in, you come at the same time because all they can do then is lift his leg and then try for the out in. It was just really good that Iran's cover was there. Anyway, quickly moving to the second video now. Let's see what happens here. I watched this a lot. There was a lot of punching, which I thought was cool. But yeah, see if any adjustments from last time. A couple more head kicks. I wonder. So they've cut each other 3 times and gotten the same reaction. So I can imagine both players thinking at this moment that there's some kind of either he's building something like I can see them both thinking that the other person's thinking of doing something already. So I wouldn't be surprised if they change the offense into a separate variable. Or Achab just goes for it. One. I feel like this is getting dangerous though. If he keeps going with that same timed cut, he's trying to set up for the, oh, it worked. So he set up for that Iranian punch where it's cut into the punch. Ahmed let him do the same variable like 4 times with no counter. So I guess usually after the first 2 times there's some kind of counter, some different look, so that way they can't build upon the pattern that was just been happening. But Ahmed did it 4 times in a row and got punched for it. Okay, so that's a different variable. Pretty good on Achab's part, even though he fell there. Because how long does this go for? Injured his adductor. So that was good for him to go there because he got punched, and when he cut, what he's been doing is cut down, cut and then down, and cut and then down. And this time he cut, and I think he expected Iran to stay there or to move in, which he did, and unfortunately he blocked it. But that was a good prediction on Achab's part to guess that Iran was going to come in and have something waiting for him in case he did. So good for Achab to try and set that up. So back on the offense. Nice defensive punch. I don't know why Achab just doesn't go for the punch here. Like after he gets the first 2, one after the second one, like why doesn't he just collapse in on him like he did the first time? I feel like they're not playing with the variables that have been shown already. I mean, this is a lot easier for me to commentate. There's a lot of nerves and a lot of other people watching, and a lot of other things mentally that I'm sure they're taking into consideration, whereas I'm just sitting here in my computer chair narrating this fight for you guys. So finally Iran's taken to some of the offense. He realized he can't just sit backwards on defense and let Achab dictate the fight. Oh, very nice look. So I like that one because on all the motions, Iran was kind of baiting to lift after Achab cuts. And on this one, even though it wasn't the same exact look, Achab kind of ate the distance first and then came in, which negates Red's first initial counter to use his front leg. So not a bad move by Achab to set that up that way. Okay, the pressure is really starting to build for Red here, because Achab is dictating the fight and scoring the points. Ooh, that would have been cool to have that back kick set up. So the back kick, the reason he back kicked is because Achab has to commit forward for the punch, and so it's something you can try and do underneath. I haven't seen many people score it, but it is scary to try and punch someone who's trying to back kick you. You guys are clashing a lot, or the refs coming in here a lot. Achab's starting to do a better job here. It's throwing different variables in, especially because he knows Iran wants to come in. So he's throwing a lot of body and then body head get with the same look. So it's not bad. Iran right now, I feel like, is just trying to reassert himself in the ring. Like Achab's been pressing and dictating the whole fight. Iran here is trying to just get some get some control of the fight. Like, get control of the pacing of the fight. Achab in his face again here. Good. Something face kick. Oh, nope. Never mind. Red's going to take the offense. Not bad. Let's see what happens round 2. So all we know so far is punches have been happening, and Red has been losing the initiative of the fight. So we can see Red probably trying to take more initiative here. Nice job standing your ground. King below the belt, really? Achab, I feel like Achab needs to mix in that punch with some head kicks now, or short head kicks. I wonder what he's baiting him to do. So usually, like, a lot of those front flicky non-committal motions keeps you safe backwards, so that way if they do come in, you can throw something. And then Red came in just as I would expect Achab was trying to set up, and Achab wasn't sitting on anything. Achab applying a little bit of pressure. Punch! There you go. Not bad. So, nice little mini setup here by Achab. So he gets kicked rear leg. Doesn't change. He almost changed nothing in his upper body. He just slides back further in the corner, tries to bait that kick again, and goes for the double back kick. I mean, the risk reward of that double back kick is not really bad. It's a potential 8 points for a 2, even if the guy even scores. Nice. Good job with the cut there. So I'm trying to think, like, I feel like usually players are trying to set up more for maybe something, no? Usually a lot of times players are give the same variables to try and set up for something else, but a lot of this looks like they're giving single variables for the sake of giving the single variable. And follow up. Let's try. Cut on the edge. No. Surprised that punch didn't score. So I'm shouting these random things out because there's not really too much setup. Well, I feel like I'm not giving them enough credit. Like, these guys are really good players. It's just I'm not really seeing them fully take advantage of stuff. Like here, it's teetering back and forth between who's in advantage. Boom, boom. Like right now, Red has advantage right now. He has offensive force. Blue is kind of recovering from the kicks. He tries to set that up, which I don't mind because I mean he saw Blue was coming in, so sitting on the back kick's not bad. Tries her here. He's on the edge now. If I were Achab, I would have maybe tried to high cut into that, so that way to force back, and then you can start playing the game while he's here, and then you're here. Achab maybe thought the fight was that little rant was there's too much invested in that, so backed off here. It's not something I feel like I would have done. Pretty good by Red though after that kind of initial burst of stuff to not sit there and reset, to relax. He took that as a initiative to reset and go in right away. Pretty good job by Red there. Good. I still feel like there you go. That was a good punch. Nothing. That was a pretty good setup. So all of this right here was to bait a front leg out, and then he kind of got what he wanted. So there's before this a lot of motion, like motion, still nothing. Doesn't want to go first. Boom, nothing. And then what I like on Achab's kicks is he'll go for one, boom. He'll accept the reset, and as the guy's resetting, he starts coming in for the second punch. I thought that was good, clean setup by Achab there, trying to get that punch. Not bad, just docking for position. Red's really taking advantage of these timing resets. Probably not going to try it again. I can see Achab going, oh, no, nothing. All right. I was going to say, if I were Achab in this situation, he came in twice already, I'd be sitting on a face kick, like, immediately. And Achab opted for the back kick. I would say, I mean, I might have gotten countered if he went up in the air and then punched me after that. Like, we may have gotten clash, but I would have set up for, like, something short, knowing he was going to come in. Which he did. It was just, I might have gotten countered, but Achab opted for the back kick, which unfortunately did score, but pretty good. Pretty good job picking that defense. I would have got scored on. So, I'd say this fight's a lot more about tactics than it is about overall strat. There's a lot of this fight right now is happening with like timing resets. So if you watch a lot of other fights, you watch this, Red is taking times that most people normally set to relax. Like after a big bout that happened here, and I paused it and I was like, okay, and then Red tried for the back kick and then Blue reset instead of trying to go in and force him out. Most people will take a second or two to reset and relax there, and it's not like that's super intentional. It's just generally that's what happens during that time, and Red took that time to slide in and punch. Then there's another time where where there's a big flurry, or I forgot what happened. Just in my gut, what I'd have predicted was there's about to be a reset, and in this last instance here, boom, I think I just missed that. So here, reset. Boom. As soon as, usually right when you get pulled to the middle of the ring, you kind of reassess the situation, reassess, do I have information on the side, do I not, what leg's feeling good, what's my gut telling me is about to happen. Red says, screw that, let's kick you. And, it doesn't score, but Red's ooh, that was pretty good combo right there. So it looks like Red's trying to bait him in. He's trying to go front leg and bait him with the lead leg now. But more than that, I'd say Red's taking advantage of timing resets right now, where usually there's a lull in the game. Well, Achab was first on that one. Usually when there's a lull in the game, Red's going for the offense. Nice try. Oh, he got it. Wow. Who's in face? Ah. So given the information we know, they're kind of just racing each other to punches. But what I would have done, like given that he's going so often, is I'd motion and then get out of the way and oh my gosh, I'd get out of the way and try and head kick because I know he's probably coming with something. And the last couple times it's been with the back leg and it's been with the punch. So if you motion and slide back and go to the face, that kind of helps answer both of those already. That would have been my personal answer, but I mean I don't go to Grand Prix, so I just sit here in my chair and commentate on these guys. What a feisty second round. So far it's been taking advantage of, they're called timing resets, where usually when there's a lull in the game, Red's going. That's usually found after the queso, or after even usually after a big flurry. Usually there's 1 or 2 seconds where both players like recover cardio wise, where it's like 1, 2, and then they kind of assess where they're going to fight next or what they're going to do next. Red's like, and we're going. And I think he's trying to hope for any of those points because, I mean, the difference is only 3 points. So he needs only 1 good body shot and a punch. Going out. So what would be the assessment here? What's the thing to work on, thing to look at? Achab's still trying to bait him in, I would say. I think he's trying to get maybe what Achab's trying to do, which I'm just realizing now, is maybe Achab's trying to get him comfortable on the offense and get him thinking solely about the offense. So that way, when he does go in, there's zero thoughts of the defense. And that generally makes people use the score on. So maybe Achab's like a psychological genius. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if he was, because he's nice punch. Nothing. Maybe he is, who knows, because I mean, he fights at the highest level, so that'd be interesting. Nice try. Red's trying to get set for it now. He's trying to have that deep front leg counter. So instead of countering in place, he'll slide back first. So Achab has to eat more distance to come in and counter. That's one of the timing resets I was talking about. Oh, that one actually paid off. So like I said, right after the Kesso starts, red goes. That's usually a half second where most people are relaxed. And he fell over, so the game is tied now. Really good payoff for red there. That'd be so interesting if that's what Achab's trying to do. If he's trying to bait red into attacking him comfortably, so when he goes on offense, he's not ready. That time, I think red knows that Achab's waiting for the time to blitz, so he's just sitting on that. He's not following for like the Jedi mind trick anymore. He's sitting on the deep defense, so that way Achab has to clear even more distance when he comes at him. Nice. I thought that was a pretty good punch. I'd be very surprised if Red commits to something super forward right now. I think he's still thinking that deep defense. Maybe not. Call Achab's bluff. Nice punch. And they gave him that one. Interesting. Nothing? Nothing on that one. His punches are not as consistent as I'd like to maybe see from Grand Prix, but you know, it's part of the game. Oh, they only gave it to red. That's so unfortunate. Oh, that was a good punch on both sides. So right now, Achab has to think of something else to do because I think red knows that blue Achab is going to try and do one of those blitz in for the outing crescent kick. So Achab has to try and think of some other trap to throw that he didn't throw before. Spin, no spin. He's going to try and make it up with a punch with 5 seconds left. That's kind of risky. Not able to get in. Oh, that was so close. That was so close. Look how close his head was. Look how close his freaking foot was. Or no, sorry, half speed. Oh my gosh, that was so close. Nice try, Achab. It's a little too late though. 0. Yeah, even if it did hit, the clock was at 0. 1 second too late and 1 second 2 inches too late. That's what I would say. Dude, pretty good fight by Achab. Anyway, so just to wrap this up, guys. If you guys, number one, so I was not able to pull too much from this fight. And I think that's because both players were fighting on the line and kept the cards kind of close to the vest. They didn't really have an overall strategy on the board. They're kind of just seeing what each other was sitting on and kind of giving some feedback on that. There's some micro adjustments we saw, like Achab trying to kick afterwards. I personally would have, tried for a different answer in some of the scenarios, especially in the first fight. Achab had some pretty good, last 10 second, 15 second, 10 second plays. And this one, like I said, 1 second, 2 inches short is not that far off. Like, I'm pretty sure this is probably won him some fights already, which is why he does it. The other fight before this one, very well calculated. What we can take away from Achab, he's very good at baiting his opponent into, if he isn't even doing this consciously, then subconsciously this is a great trap, where he'll go on offense and he'll wait for the person to fully think about the offense before he commits to his blitz, and they have no defense, so it's a lot safer for him to do that. The second thing Achab is good at is he'll go first on the reset, and as the person's resetting, he'll come in right away as the person's getting down and kind of moving into the distance they had lost. So usually what happens if you get cut back and I stand here, you will eat the distance again to find me at the edge of distance. What Achab will do is he'll cut, then y'all go back, and as you guys moving in, that's when Achab will blitz. Another great timing by him. It almost paid off a couple of times already. Good job by Achab doing that. And those are my two biggest takeaways from Achab this round. From Iran, great. All Iran players have great game overall. They don't make Iranian national team without having that. From the first fight, great defense. Good job following up when necessary. I didn't see too much overarching strategy. Like, this is what we're going to do the whole time. I could see a little bit of playing on the edge. And I think against Achab specifically, his game may be a little bit more conservative, not too much follow up, because Achab is an unorthodox player, and the way to fight someone who's unorthodox is just get 1 point at a time. If the timing is weird, if they do weird stuff, all you do is get your 1 point and then you play it safe. And then you try and set up, you get a second point, you play it safe. So your score is 2-0 and you just inch forward that way. There's no big plays, nothing fancy. So I think that might be why Ahmed did this, is because Achab has, like, who throws a double back kick? Achab, that's about it. Achab and maybe Abu Ghosh. Like, those are the only two guys in the whole world who throw a double back kick at the world level. In the second fight here, what I really like to see was the reset timing attacks, I guess what I'll call them, or the reset attacks, where generally those are the half seconds or the 1 second where players take the second to breathe. Iran goes for it. The second the hand goes up, Iran's going for it. After the big exchange, instead of most players waiting the 1 or 2 seconds to recover, Iran's going for it. And it didn't pay off the first 3 times, but on the 4th time it did, and Achab fell over, which gave essentially Iran the match that time. So it's hard to kind of base a strategy after that, because once people handle that small tactic, you can't really use it anymore. If they're aware 24/7 that you might be coming in at any second, like, the effectiveness of that timing reset isn't as effective. So I would say it's more of a tactic that paid off for Iran this time versus a big overarching strategy. Like I said, though, if you guys are also really intelligent people out there, if you guys see things in this game specifically, or these 2 games specifically, that I don't see, please share that below. I mean, I love learning new stuff. I love seeing new stuff happen in the game. And hey, well, I really appreciate you guys tuning in, and that's about it for this week. And please like, subscribe, or comment below, and I'll see you guys next time.